Imagine this: two countries, not enemies, not rivals, but friends. They trade together, they support each other, they trust each other. Now imagine, only a few years later, they hate each other. They threaten war. They attack through secret groups. They call each other a danger to the world. What changed? How did friendship turn into deep hostility? Today we explore the real story of how Iran and Israel became enemies. And this story is more surprising than you think because once they were on the same side. Let us go back in time. The years is 1948. Israel becomes a new country. Many Middle Eastern countries are angry. They do not accept Israel, but Iran is different. At that time, Iran is ruled by a king called the Shah. His full name was Muhammad Reza Shah Pahlavi. He wanted Iran to become modern. He wanted strong relations with Western countries like the United States, and Israel was also close to the United States. So Iran and Israel became quiet partners, not loudly in public but strongly behind the scenes. They traded oil. Israel needed oil. Iran needed technology and support. They helped each other. They shared intelligence. They had business agreements. They were not emotional friends, but they had smart cooperations. For many years, this relationship continued, but inside Iran, something was changing. Many people were not happy. They felt the Shah was too close to the West, too modern, too strict, too powerful. They believed he didn't respect religion enough, and slowly anger started to grow. This anger became a revolution. In 1979, everything changed. The Shah left Iran and a new leader came to power. His name was Ayatollah Ruhollah Khamenei. He was a religious leader. He believed Iran must follow Islamic law. He believed Western influence was dangerous, and he believed Israel was not just a country but an enemy of Islam. This was the turning point. The new Iranian government stopped all relations with Israel. They closed the Israeli embassy. They even gave the building to the Palestinian leadership. This was a strong message. Iran was no longer a quiet partner. Now Iran openly said Israel should not exist. This was not political disagreement, this became ideological hatred. From that moment, the relationship was broken. But there is something important to understand. Iran and Israel do not share a border. They are not neighbors. They do not fight directly most of the time. Instead, their conflict became indirect, a shadow war. Iran began supporting groups that fight against Israel. One of these groups is Hezbollah in Lebanon, another in Hamas in Gaza. Iran gives them money, weapons, and training. Israel sees this as a serious threat, so Israel responds. It attacks Iranian targets in Syria. It tries to stop Iranian weapons shipments. It carries out secret operations. This is not a normal war. It is quite hidden but very real. And then came another big issue: nuclear power. Iran says it wants nuclear energy for peaceful use, electricity, science, development. But Israel does not believe this. Israel fears Iran wants nuclear weapons. And if Iran gets nuclear weapons, Israel feels its survival is in danger because Iranian leaders have said strong words against Israel. So Israel takes this very seriously. Over the years, tensions grow, cyber attacks happen, scientists are killed, military bases are bombed, but still both sides avoid full war. Why? Because full war would be very dangerous, not only for them, but for the entire Middle East and maybe the world. Now let's us pause for a moment. Ask yourself, how does a friendship become hatred? Is it only politics or is it belief? In this story, belief plays a huge role. The Shah's Iran was political and strategic. The new Iran after 1979 was religious and ideological. When ideology changed, alliances change, and when leaders change, direction changes. But the story doesn't stop there. At recent years, tensions has increased even more. Iran has grown stronger in the region. It has influence in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen. Israel sees this as a circle of pressure, like being surrounded slowly. And Israel has made one thing clear: it will not allow Iran to build military bases close to its borders. So it attacks Iranian positions in Syria. Iran responds through its allies, and the shadow war continues. But something different is happening now. The attacks are becoming more open, more direct, more public. The world is watching. The question many people are asking is, will this become a direct war? No one knows. But what we do know is this: this conflict is not new, it is not sudden, it is the result of history, of revolution, of ideology, of fear, of power, and sometimes of misunderstanding. Now think about this. If the 1979 revolution didn't happen, would Iran and Israel still be partners? Maybe if leadership didn't change, would this conflict exist? Maybe not. History is powerful. One event can change decades of relationships, and this is why understanding history is important because today's headlines are based on yesterday's decisions. Is this conflict about security or survival? Before we saw how friendship turned into hostility after the 1979 Iranian Revolution, but now the story becomes even more intense because this conflict is not only about words, it is about actions, secret actions, military actions, and global power. Let us talk about Israel's side. Israel is a small country, very small compared to Iran. Iran has a much larger population, much larger land, more regional influence. Israel has one main goal: survival. Since its creation in 1948, Israel has faced many wars, so Israeli leaders believed something very strongly: never wait for danger to become too big. Stop it early. This is called preemptive strategy. If Israel believes a threat is growing, it may attack before the threat becomes stronger. Now think about Iran's nuclear program. Iran says it wants nuclear energy for peaceful use, electricity, science, development. But Israel doesn't trust this explanation. Israel believes that if Iran gets nuclear weapons, it could change the balance of power in the Middle East. And for Israel, that is unacceptable. So, what did Israel do? Over the years, there were mysterious events. Iranian nuclear scientists were killed in secret operations. Cyber attacks damaged Iranian nuclear facilities. One famous cyber cycle was called Stuxnet. It damaged machines inside Iran's nuclear program. This was not a normal military attack, it was digital warfare. No bombs, no soldiers, just code. Many experts believe Israel, together with the United States, was behind it, but these actions were never officially admitted. This is what makes this conflict unique. It is partly indivisible, a hidden battle inside computers and intelligence agencies. Now let us talk about Syria. During the Syrian civil war, Iran sent military forces to support the Syrian government. Iran built bases and sent weapons. Israel watched carefully because Syria shares a border with Israel. If Iran builds military bases in Syria, Israel feels surrounded. So Israel started launching airstrikes, hundreds of airstrikes targeting Iranian position in Syria. Israel says these attacks are defensive to stop Iran from getting too close. Iran says these attacks are aggression. Both sides believe they are protecting themselves, and this is where the problems becomes complicated because both sides thinks they are right. Now let us talk about proxy groups. Iran supports Hezbollah in Lebanon. Hezbollah has thousands of rockets. Many of these rockets can reach Israel. From Israel's perspective, this is extremely dangerous. From Iran's perspective, this is resistance. Two different views, same reality. This is not black and white, it is grey. And then we must talk about the United States. The US is one of Israel's closest allies. It gives military support, financial aid, political protection, and international organizations. At the same time, the US has strong tensions with Iran, especially after the US left the Iran nuclear deal in 2018. This made Iran feel isolated and pressured. Sanctions damaged Iran's economy, prices increased, jobs became harder to find, and pressure inside the country grew. So now, this conflict is not only Iran versus Israel, it includes global powers Russia, China, the United States, regional countries like Saudi Arabia, the Middle East becomes like a class board, and Iran and Israel are two powerful players. Every move is calculated, every action sends a message. Now let's me ask you something important. Is this conflict about religion? Yes. Partly. Is it about politics? Yes. Is it about power? Definitely. Is it about fear? Very much. Israel fears nuclear weapons, Iran fears isolation and attack. Fear drives action, and action creates reaction. That is how cycles begin. But here is something many people do not talk about. Ordinary people in Iran and Israel are not fighting each other every day. Many of them just want peace. They want normal life, jobs, family stability, safety for their children, but governments make decisions. Military leaders make plans, and history continues moving forward. In recent years, tensions became more direct. Missile attacks, drone strikes, public threats on television, less hidden, more visible. The language became stronger, the warnings became louder. The world now asks, will this become louder? The world now asks, will this become open war? If that happens, it would not be small. It could involve many countries. Energy prices would rise, global markets would shake, regional stability would collapse, refugees could increase, alliances could break. So most leaders try to avoid full war. They fight carefully, they calculate risk, they send messages, but they stop before total destruction. At least for now, this is like walking on a thin line. One mistake could change everything. One misunderstanding, one wrong calculation, one emotional decision, and the situation could explode. Now let us return to main question. How did Iran and Israel become enemies? The answer is simple and complex. At the same time, leadership changed, ideology changed, trust disappeared, fear increased, power competition grew. Small tensions were not solved, they became bigger over time. Cooperation turned into suspicion, suspicion turned into hostility, and hostility became long term conflict. History teaches us something powerful. Enemies are not born, they are created through decisions, through revolutions, through reactions, and sometimes through misunderstanding. Think about it. Before 1979, these two countries cooperated quietly. They had shared interests, they had trade, they had communication. Then one revolution changed traction, one change in leadership changed foreign policy, and everything moved in change can be. Now let me ask you a final question. Can this conflict ever end? History shows us something interesting. Countries that were once enemies can become partners. After World War II, many European countries that fought terrible wars later built cooperation and peace. Former enemies created unions and trade agreements. So change is possible, but it requires trust, and trust requires courage. It requires leaders who are willing to take political risks. It requires people who are willing to see the other side as human. For now, Iran and Israel remain rivals, watching each other, preparing, responding, waiting. The tension is real, the history is heavy, the future is uncertain, and the world watches with them because what happens between these two countries does not stay between them. It affects oil prices, it affects global politics, it affects regional security, it affects millions of lives. This is not just a regional story, it is a global story. A story about power, about belief, about fear, about survival, and now you understand it more deeply. Not from short headlines, not from simple slogans, but from history. And that makes your knowledge stronger because when you understand the past, you understand the present, and maybe you can predict the future.